Moving down the budget ladder, today we are going to look at the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 3 Chromebook. Hey guys, welcome back to our Hardware Sense channel. My name is Ivan and today we are looking at the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 3 Chromebook. This is the most budget-friendly offering from Lenovo that you can get and send your kids back to school with. Now what we have on board is 11.6-inch screen. Unfortunately, the resolution is lower at 1366 by 768. This kind of resolutions at laptops we saw maybe 10 years ago, right? We have 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, but unfortunately the storage is eMMC and not UFS 2.1 or 3 or 3.1. The RAM is DDR3, so again, not the fastest, and the processor inside is Mediatek, which again is not the fastest. It's about 2.1 gigahertz. Is it going to be enough for you to buy, do some work, do some schoolwork, do some documents, browsing, consume some media? We're going to find out in this video, and you can make that decision. Is it worth buying it, or maybe it's better to spend a little bit more money and get the Lenovo IdeaPad 3, the new one with the AMD, which I just showed you in my previous video, or even more, spend some more money and get some even better, which I'm having a couple coming into my channel, more expensive laptops that are combining not only a good work and productivity, but also some high-end gaming, but to that a little bit later. For now, we're gonna go into the unboxing and quick overview of this Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 3, which that kind of hints the name. It can turn into a tablet and can be a laptop as well, or Chromebook in this case. But without further ado, let's go in. So let's see what's inside the box of the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 3, the Chromebook, the ultimate budget machine for around $200 that you can send your kid back to school with. Similar to some of the more budget Lenovo offerings, the box is nothing to really write home about. It's very simple. On one side we have the charger, and the charger is 45 watts and it's using USB-C. Great to see this change, and actually this is a better solution than the one you guys saw in my previous video on the AMD IdeaPad that is coming with the barrel style charger, where here we have a regular USB-C 45 watt charger that you can use across multiple devices, not just this Chromebook. Inside, warranty information, quick startup guide. Again, nothing to really write home about here. And packed inside in plastic is the white body of the Chromebook. 11.6-inch IdeaPad Flex 3. Very reminiscent to the very first netbook. If you guys remember a while back, maybe what, 14 years ago, when that segment was created, the netbooks. Asus came out with the first one, which was like a 7-inch screen netbook with super underpowered Intel Atom processor, and this is exactly the body, like the color and the plastic feel that I'm getting from this one, kind of an ivory white. So let's go to the ports. On the left side we have the charging USB-C port, HDMI, USB 3, and we have full-size SD card. And on the right side, we have Kensington lock, we have the power button, volume rocker, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. Great to see. On the bottom, nothing really other than the 2 bottom firing speakers, large rubber foot in the back, 2 smaller ones in the front, and that's about it. Nothing on the front. So when we open it, let's see. As always, once you open the screen, the laptop, or in this case the Chromebook, starts. Same exact information from Lenovo, what we've seen before in previous models, covered with recycled fabric again. Nicely large size keyboard, some more unique layout because it's for Chromebook. You're going to be missing some things, but what we have on the bottom, Energy Start, support stickers, nothing really again crazy. This is the most budget friendly offering for around $200. You're getting a Chromebook, which is good for school and in general video calls, checking emails, browsing the internet. So not bad at all. Once you open it, it starts out and it will have you set it up. Actually, the setup process is no longer than 5 to 10 minutes. Extremely short, extremely quick, and you're good to go. So once you have everything set up for your account, you're going to see a couple of icons on the bottom. You have Google Chrome, you have your mail, Google Docs, YouTube, the Play Store, and messages. That's about it. The only really kind of a little bit of a negative for me is the bezels on the side of the screen. For 11.6, I think for this body they could have fit probably 13-inch inside, but I understand why, because this Chromebook goes all the way around, turns into a tablet this way, which I'm not planning to use it. I'm actually liking the conventional style with the keyboard and the touchpad, but if you like to use it as a tablet, this is the way to do it. Just flip it over and you have your apps right there on your desktop, very similar to any tablet that you are used to. Now with this way, we have a regular mouse, pads, and anywhere on the bottom of the trackpad you can click. Keyboard, I have to say it's very comfortable. I'm actually surprised how comfortable this keyboard is. Very responsive, good enough travel on it. Does not have a backlight, but considering the budget of around $200, I'm not expecting it really to have a backlight or any other extras. But at least you have a full-size SD card and a full-size USB, and of course HDMI if you want to output to a bigger screen. You know, maybe the biggest issue for me is the resolution of this screen, 1366 to 768. This is kind of a outdated resolution. You know, laptops maybe 10 years ago were sold with this kind of resolution, and you would expect at today's day and age you can get at least 1080p, but it is what it is. As an internals, what do we have? We have a Mediatek MT8173C processor, which is clocked about 2.1 gigahertz. We have 4 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, and we have 64 gigabytes of internal storage, which unfortunately is eMMC. It's nothing faster. It's not UFS 2.1 or 3 or any of that. But again, think about it. For $200, this is extremely budget device. They can get you going with Google Chrome, browse, check your email, Google Docs, obviously, if you want to do some schoolwork, write some papers, do anything that Google Docs is allowing you. So not bad at all. And of course, you can install apps from the Play Store, just like on any other regular Android tablet or Android phone. What else to mention here? We have a camera right in the middle of the screen for some video calls. Of course, Zoom, Skype, anything that's needed these days to keep you connected. We have some rubberized little feet on top of the keyboard here, so when you close the lid, it will not touch the keyboard itself. Overall, very light and compact. You can throw it in your backpack and get on with traveling with it, no problem. So that's pretty much it. Let's go to the conclusion and talk about this one. If it's a good option for you to get right now, for your kids to go back to school, or for you just to do some light work and some browsing. All right, conclusion time with the Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 3, the Chromebook, the most budget-friendly Chromebook at the moment that you can get around $200. Is it worth buying? Is it worth getting it for your kids to go back to school with? So let's talk about it. And I want to point out a few of the strong points with this specific Chromebook and some of the negatives that I definitely consider to be something you should think about. And maybe if you have a little bit more money, sure, you should invest in something better. Now, starting with the positives, first thing and foremost, the price tag. I mean, around $200, that's cheaper than even smartphones, well, majority of the smartphones these days. So I can't really beat that. You're getting a device that you can take anywhere, browse, check email, do some documents, some light work, and rely on super long battery life. So yeah, it's a strong point. Next thing, we have a full-size HDMI, we have a full-size USB, we have a full-size SD card slot. So if you're relying on these ports to output some video on a bigger screen, or use some external devices, you use some SD cards with some media, you're all covered here, no problem whatsoever. If you don't like to type like a regular laptop, you know, just open it up, flip it, use it as a tablet. Again, great option to have. Overall build quality is okay for $200, obviously. I'm not too sure about this kind of ivory looking white plastic, just because it reminds me too much of that very first generation netbook Asus, the E 7-inch. You guys maybe remember it. But anyway, maybe different colors would have looked nicer, but it is what it is. Again, for $200, can't really be mad. The stereo speakers are actually very loud. I'm surprised how loud they are. Yeah, they lack a bass or high-end clarity, but at the same time they're pretty loud. So even half of the volume will reflect in like filling the room with sound. If you're watching Netflix or other streaming services, you're not gonna have problem whatsoever. Of course, you're outfitted with the 3.5mm headphone jack, so of course that helps you even more. Plug in your headphones and consume your media in silence and don't bother anybody around you. Another very strong point is the battery life, and this you can expect with light work and just media consumption close to 10 hours. I mean, this is what I saw. This is definitely something that is the most strong point for this Chromebook. Not too many laptops can brag about the same battery life, or with this you can not even take the charger and last a whole day at school, just typing on that, not even at lower brightness of the screen. I had it maybe at 75% brightness and it lasted for a very, very long time, no problem whatsoever. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth on board. You can unlock it with your Android phone very easily, super fast. Flipping the screen turns on the Chromebook and within seconds you are presented within the OS. The keyboard is very good to type on. The touchpad is very nice. Plastic, of course, but at the same time, I didn't see any major issues with it. It's not clicky, it's not rattly. Actually, it feels a little bit better than the one I showed you in my previous video on the IdeaPad 3 AMD version. And overall, very light, very compact. You can throw it in your backpack and carry it around anywhere. Put it on the plane, take it in the car, take it in the road trip. That's cool, no matter what. And another strong point, kind of tied to the price. I mean, for $200, if you get that to your kid and they use it for school, and for whatever reason further down the road, something happens, they drop it or it breaks, you're not down $1,000. If you bought a more expensive laptop, the loss is going to be bigger. Where here, $200, it's not the end of the world. Kind of positive. Cooling solution, completely passive, no fans, no noise. If you're planning to use this in a classroom where silence is preferable, that's gonna do a great job for you. You're not gonna emit any noise, completely silent. The only noise you're gonna be emitting is the typing on the keyboard, which by itself, it's not that noisy, so you're not gonna have any problems whatsoever. There's camera included, so you can use Skype, you can use Zoom, any other video call services that are supported by the OS. That way you can do some conference calls, face-to-face sort of speak. A lot of strong points for this little Chromebook. Now, on to the negatives. What I consider a negative is 11.6-inch screen is kind of on the small size, especially for me personally. I mentioned before, ideally, I'd like to be around 13.3 or 14 for kind of like these kind of devices that you can throw in a backpack and carry around. Maybe because my eyes are not that great anymore, but I like a little bit of a bigger screen. Now, being 11.6, I was hoping at least it's going to be 1080p, but unfortunately it's not. 1366 by 768, quite an old resolution. But in this small size, it's not that obvious. The pixels are not that big. It's not too grainy, so it really is not that major of an issue. And if you want to output to a bigger TV or monitor that is 1080p and above, you can do it through the HDMI, no problem whatsoever. The other thing kind of tied to the display is the display bezels. They're kind of big, but I know why they did this, because when you flip it and use it as a tablet, you need to be able to grab it somewhere, and if it's too close to the lid, to the edge of the lid, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. You are going to have some accidental touches and stuff like that. So that's how it is. The build quality I already mentioned. For $200, it's not bad, but obviously, I would like to see some better plastics used, and this white one is just not doing it for me that much. Processor, memory, and RAM are not that fast, and you will notice when you have multiple tabs open or you have a heavy document and you're editing, with a lot of pictures and stuff like that, you will experience some slowdowns, some lags. I think that's most likely due to the slow internal storage and kind of a slower RAM, and not that much RAM anyway, it's 4 gigabytes. But if you're managing correctly, you're still gonna be okay with these components and not have too many issues. Obviously watching Netflix and all these streaming services, there's no problem whatsoever. At least to me, I didn't see any slowdowns, any lags or anything like that. The wireless connection was great. You can connect to wireless 5 as well, the 5 gigahertz, so you can have faster connection, not just the 2.4. Bluetooth connections were fine, so no problem whatsoever. At the end of the day, for $200, would I recommend it? Yeah, absolutely. If you're in a very strict budget and you cannot spend more than $200 and $220, and you absolutely need a new device to send your kid back to school, or to do schoolwork, or if you want to do light work on the go, this device can definitely do it. But if you have a little bit more money, and if you want to spend a little bit more money, definitely go for something higher tier, like that IdeaPad 3 AMD version that I showed you in the previous video. For around $450, you can get the 14-inch or the 15.6-inch version, and that one opens a lot of horizons in front of you, not only with much heavier loads and media consumption and creation, but also gaming. Lighter gaming like Fortnite can run perfectly well on that one. But again, that's double the budget and a little bit more, so you gotta really think about how much money you want to spend. But again, if your budget is very, very strict at $200, this is a device that's definitely worth checking out. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now, guys. If you want to support the channel, check the link in the description below. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, guys, you have a wonderful day.